Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that introduction. Really excited to be here today to introduce you to It's Easy products. So for our agenda, first we'll focus on why all-in-one training solutions matter before moving to the challenge of using traditional LMS systems. And then we'll talk about the solution, which is our all-in-one LMS. From there, we'll do a demo of both the learner and then the admin view before opening it up for a Q&A with any questions you might have. I also have my panelists on the call today to answer any questions as they come up as well. So talking about us as a company, we have over 1,000 satisfied customers and worldwide in over 90 countries with 10 million active users on our platform right now and 120,000 successfully completed projects. The focus of today's call will be the LMS. With LMS, author and skills is built into it as part of the all-in-one solution. But just know that if you already have an LMS and you're locked into a contract or something like that, but maybe author interests you or skills interest you or any of our services, they can all be standalone. So that is an option that's available to you. With author, you have AI built into it to help you build content faster. And even without AI, we've found that it produces content about 3 times faster than other authoring tools. The soft skills catalog has over 500 courses in 8 different languages, and we're actually expanding upon that to support some other languages in like Southeast Asia as well. And courses include things like environment and sustainability skills, company and society skills, work skills, sales, leadership, and communication, and lastly, well-being and happiness skills. Those are just our primary categories, but we have a bunch of subcategories underneath those that we'll be covering today for you to look at. Factory works very well with Author because with Factory, we can basically create bespoke content the way you need it. The Factory team is about 40 people right now. So if you have a very large project that you're working on, you just don't have the bandwidth to create that content all yourself or with your team, there's 40 people that you can call upon whenever you need it to build that content for you. And if you're an author client, it's great because we can transfer the content from Factory into your author environment and you can make small changes from there as needed versus most factory shops, you'd be required to only get the scoring package and go back to them to pay fees for any small changes that are needed. The gamification layer is built into Engage. Engage is just that, an engagement platform that is designed for frontline workers. There's a recent study that came out that said that 24% of frontline workers feel like they're adequately trained, but the other percentages do not, about 76%. So it's just a traditional segment that's pretty hard to reach in terms of training. And this is specifically designed for them to log into a mobile app or a tablet or something like that to consume trainings as they need it. But I also have clients that have utilized it for, demos booked, sales converted, that kind of thing, because there is gamification built in with point systems and stuff like that. And you can, you know, trade off those points for company merchandise, whatever you want to do to just kind of create a more fun environment. And it can sit on top of the current LMS system to work together with it. And it does have that integration to support that. So talking about the challenges of traditional LMS systems. So if you do not have an all-in-one, then you would technically need multiple tools, and those would be standalone products from different companies. And that just creates more cost because, if a company has one standalone product, they have to have a higher fee to, make up for the profit. And then you have the inefficiency and complexity of managing multiple tools, especially if you need to do like integrations with like HRIS, SSO, that kind of thing. It becomes like a 3 type integration setup versus just one, which is what our tool is designed for. And this just creates a negative impact for not just your employees, but also the learners, because it slows down everything and creates more complexity. Talking about our all-in-one solution. So we have a lot of automation and workflows built into it. It's actually one of the most powerful things I like about the platform. We'll dive into that in the demo. The AI power creation tool, which is the author tool we talked about, and the extensive online learning library, which is the soft skills library that we discussed. And then real-time analytics and engagement tracking is built in, not just for the admin, but the supervisor as well. And you can assign that as like an instructor, supervisor, or whatever is needed for instructor-led training. We covered a few of these things already on the previous slide, like course creation, soft skills catalog. But yeah, overall, this just creates a streamlined process. You don't need to set up any complex integrations, but there is integration support if you need it. But everything's already there for you, right? The skills, the author, and the LMS. These are some of our clients. And with that, I'm going to jump over into the demo environment. So we're going to start in the learner view. That's what this is what the learner would see. So you have like this banner view that you can basically make clickable to take them to like some sort of announcements for things that are the most important for the learner to see. You also have forums for social learning. This is actually a part of the learning path or program, as we call it. So each learning path or program has its own social learning built into it. And then we have news articles as well that you can associate to anything for any new company news or internal memos you want to release, whether it's internal, external, or partnership training. So we do support both, just to clarify. The learner dashboard gives the learner a single view of everything that they've completed and have upcoming or haven't passed, that kind of thing. So let's say you have a customer that has a lot of trains that are obviously required, right? Because it's a customer. Then they can just do the categories that it most interests them. But let's say you have more formal learnings as a learner and they have like due dates and stuff like that, then the learner has a great way to check that out and see like things that are, coming up to expire, like things that they haven't passed yet, courses they can improve upon, courses they're doing well, courses they completed, and things that are pending or in progress. And you can see here, this one is showing like the soonest end date for this particular course. Going over the catalog, this is the catalog view where the learner can basically enroll into a course. Now, I do want to mention that the catalog does not need to exist. There are some scenarios where you wouldn't even need a catalog for your learners, especially if you're doing a lot of like instructor-led training sessions and then, there's courses a part of that. Then if that's the case, then obviously the instructor would have to decide when that enrollment would happen, right? So we have a few different enrollment types. So we have the catalog view. We have a view where, as a learner, I can click on this, I can request to enroll, but the supervisor has to approve that enrollment. The other one, again, is that invisible enrollment, where like, it's an onboarding training, it's an instructor-led training first, and then the person who did that, instructor-wise, then enrolls the learner into that invisible course that they didn't see. And that shows up into their learned category. And then the last one, which is to me the most important, is trigger-based enrollment, which we're going to be covering here in a moment. Going over into the participant role profile. In here, we can download learner records. We can check like completed trainings and stuff like that. Requests to enroll into trainings. And then we have a section down here to change localization. So just know that from the admin's perspective too, you can assign content based on like language, region, branch, like that kind of thing, to make sure it goes to the right group and especially into the right language. So in here, these are all the languages that we support. And we're constantly expanding upon this. And we do work with clients if we're missing something to add to the localization if needed. So going over into the management area, this is the admin view. So in the admin view, you can see here in the top part of the page, we have programs, we have calls, we have activities, dynamizations, and forums. Okay. So all of these are a part of a program. All of this bundles itself into a program. And a program can be a single course, it can be a learning path, it can be whatever you want it to be. A call is basically the filter of who is eligible to receive the program. An activity is the actual content itself that goes into the program, like the SCORM file, a video or a test, something like that. And the dynamization is the trigger actions for emails. So when a learner gets enrolled into a course, what email goes out? If a course is about to expire and they need to complete it, what is that email that needs to go out? What is the messaging? Who does it go to? That kind of thing. And then the forums, again, is the social learning tied to the program. If I click on a program, we can also see like everything's associated, like the activity, the call, tools, again, which is going to be the forums, and resources is going to be things like links or PDFs, that kind of stuff. So this could be technically like an instructor-led training session you want to tag to this, or you could put it into the activity type itself. It's kind of up to you where you want to put it for the ILT sessions. Going over into the call. If I click on one of these calls, like let's click on this one. And if we go into advanced configuration, go into the participants tab here, we can already see, first of all, from the original view, who's participating in this. And here we can see even a larger view if there's more students a part of it. But in this section, this is where you can set the rules for adding participants into a course. And this is very important for learning paths It's also important for something called skills-based training or competency-based training. Typically, that type of feature is either not in an LMS or it's extremely complex to set up. We've really simplified it and made this beautiful view for the admin to make it as easy as possible. So let me just give you an example of how that would work. So let's say you've already created a course, right? And let's just call it onboarding training part one. So we could say, okay, if a learner completed an onboarding training part one, let's just say this first one is that particular course, you could then set like, okay, what happens when they complete it, but they fail it? Or what happens when they complete it and succeed? So you can have like these divergent learning paths where based on succeeding or failed or whatever actions you want to put here, then they get enrolled into whatever course I'm going to assign this call to. So this could be like the part two course. And if you're going to have it both for failed and succeeded, then you technically would have two separate courses that they potentially could go into. And this is very powerful. And usually it's extremely difficult to set this up. Um, and from there, you can add in more categories. So I could say and or this requirement needs to happen. Okay. So we'll say and we could say, I don't know, like it has to be for a particular role or a predefined group, right, of people, like for HR, for sales, or customer service, because for them, it matters more for them versus like another group. So you can kind of define it that way. Um, and let's say you have content that they need to redo, I don't know, every year, let's say. You could say, okay, it has to be greater than or equal to 1 year, at which point they get enrolled into this part two of training. And this could just be like a renewal of the training that they need to complete again, right? Because they've succeeded it. And 1 year later, they need to redo it. Okay. Versus if they failed it, something else happens. So yeah, that's how you create this skills-based training or competency-based training. But again, this is also how you create a learning path, right? Because then you can create like part one, part two, part three, as you create more programs. Okay. So if we go back and we go into activity and we click add, this is where we can add in like score, poll, video, task, all that kind of thing. The test uses the same features as you would see in polls, just this one's actually grading it, and there's more tracking associated with that. A task can be like an assignment that's graded by an actual like manager, let's say. So we don't have time to go through all of this, so I'm just going to quickly show you some of the question types available in the platform. So these are all the question types that are here. And after the call, you will get a recording, so you can pause it here and take a look. Okay, so we're going to exit out of this, go into dynamization. And again, dynamization is basically your email templates that go out based on actions like courses that are about to expire and stuff like that. So if I click on this, I can see like what this message is. And if we open it up, we can add in like user variables for the learner if we want, any files we want associated, what groups this is a part of, that kind of thing. And then forums is for the social learning. So now I'm going to quickly go over to activities. And then in the activities section here, this is where you can also get access to the It's Easy Skills catalog. And the It's Easy Skills catalog, like I mentioned, has a lot of content available, 500 plus courses in 8 different languages. We don't have time to go through all the subcategories, but in terms of categories, we got the leadership, we got communication, high performance teams, business, customer experience, diversity management, productivity, innovation change, sustainability, which is really big in Europe right now, digital mindset, well-being and happiness, and compliance and OHS for your compliance trainings. And then this is kind of split between formal training and informal training. So the informal trainings are like less than 30 minutes and they have like an express view is what we call it. And I'll show you what that looks like. And then we have the more formal trains that are up to 60 minutes. So it's like half and half basically. And then you can filter by language here. And if I click on this, I can also select multiple courses and then download it as a score and package if I want. But maybe I'm just interested in one course, but I'm not really sure what it's about. No problem. You just click on view details. You can see the languages supported, objectives, target audience, key skills is all listed here. From there, if you give it a second to load,
Internal customers are they satisfied with the service you provide?
you can basically see a preview of what it's going to provide or download like the course sheet or package itself to check it out and see if it's something you guys want to incorporate. And using our programs, you can bundle this where it's like after they complete this, that moves into part two, which is maybe like a more in-depth training on maybe the processes that your team follows or your company in particular follows. So with that, let's go over into the author environment. When I go into the author environment here, I can see a list of categories available to me. These folders are basically set up by companies, but if you don't want to manage the folders by companies, you can set it by like groups like your customer service and your sales teams, that kind of thing. And then you can assign authors into that author environment. So you can have an author a part of many folders or just one folder, and they can only see whatever folders you associate them to. And there's collaborative authoring built in where if you make changes on one slide, another author can see that change real time happening. So you can work on it together. So if I click on this and we go ahead and, well, first of all, we can import through PowerPoint. So if you are importing like a lot of content and you want to just transfer it over, you can change it from like PDF to PowerPoint and then use AI to generate all the interactives first. And then from there, you just need to copy paste over like the text and that kind of thing. Pretty straightforward. And it saves a lot of time with transferring content. You can also create subfolders to better manage, like the content itself and where it goes. And from here, I'm just going to click New Project. In here, we have the option between regular course and express course. Express course is like your web page view. The course view is like classic view is like the slide view where you click through kind of like PowerPoint. And this is what I meant earlier with the skills catalog where you have like the informal versus formal. Half of it's going to be like this slide view versus like a web page view. So I'm going to select this one. And then from here, we can choose the templates. These are all the templates we have right now. We're constantly adding to it. If you have an enterprise license, you can also create your own templates. I can also set the color that I want to match the brand here, or if it doesn't match the brand and I need an exact hex, no problem. You can set the hex here for every color that goes into this template. So I'll choose this one. And then from here, we need to name the SCORM package, and then we need to add, a chapter and sub-chapters underneath it, which is pretty easy. Or we can just say onboarding. And then from there, we just need to go into the content itself. And I'll start with just a few slides here. And then we'll move over into a blank course after this, where you can actually create a blank slide here using that. Yeah, I think that's a good start. So from here, I just need to label this like onboarding training part one, or we'll say, let's say onboard training week one. Okay, that makes more sense. And if I click out of this, you'll notice that things change as I click around, right? When I click out, I have the option to add a presenter. And with presenter, you can do voiceover with subtitle generation, and I can also do video presenter with like AI video voice, or I can upload myself, record myself, whatever I want to do. I'm going to do an avatar just so you can kind of see the AI option. We can also customize an avatar to match your brand if you'd like with your logo and everything. These are all the other out of the box avatars that we have. I'm going to click this guy. And then from here, we're going to say, onboarding, well, some things to know about onboarding training week one include. And we'll stop there. And we have a lot of different languages supported here. Just know that the entire content itself, not just the voiceover guy here, can be localized to whatever language you've created. So if you start in English, let's say, you can use AI to then say, okay, translate this entire course to Spanish, and it'll work on that for like up to 200 slides, which is a limitation of SCORM. The only thing you would need to translate from there would be the actual avatars because they don't translate when you do the AI video. But if you generate the VTT and all that stuff for videos that are in English, it'll translate the VTT so the subtitles change to Spanish or whatever language that you select. So with the avatar from here, we just need to select like, his mood basically and how serious the topic is. And then from there, we don't have to wait. Like with AI, you can keep moving forward and generating content using AI. Again, all of our interactives can be generated with AI. So these from here, I can say, okay, I want, for this trivia, I want AI to generate content from slides 1 through 3 for this trivia, and it'll just do that for you. If I click preview here, we can actually just take a quick look of what it's going to look like to the learner in that SCORM package. We do have accessibility. We don't have time to go into that today, but our accessibility is the highest on the market. It's a huge selling point for, especially for like, people with government clients or universities, for example. We're 100% AA WCAG and we're 80% AAA WCAG, fully compliant and mostly automated. You'll only have to add alternative text and long description. So from here, I can check out this quick trivia here. And one of the ways that we save time for our clients is by creating a responsive design out of the box. Like you don't have to set the pixel or anything like that. We decide that for you on the device that you need to go on. And this is one of the ways that we increase production time by at least 3 times. So it's pretty awesome. And this is what it looks like in mobile view. Now, if I go back, I think this did finish. So let's preview that.
Some things to know about onboarding training week 1 include.
Okay, so there's that. Um, and then yeah, from there, if let's say I want to distribute this content, well, first of all, let's go into this blank slide. And we don't have time to go through this, but these are all of our interactives. Tons of interactives available. So now if you want to distribute the content, you just go to distribution. And then from here, you click LMS, and we have SCORM 1.2 and 2004 available to export into. You can also set other configuration options here as needed with like logos and branding and that kind of thing, and change language, sequential, fonts, that kind of stuff can all be modified here. So that's the author view, very quick rundown of it. So with that, let's go ahead and jump back into the admin view, and we're going to jump now into the supervisor panel and just kind of look at what they have access to. So as a supervisor, I can see for my employees how well they're doing, like who's the most motivated, who's the most productive, people who stand out, how are we doing on a month-to-month basis. Maybe there's some months that are doing better than others, and maybe that's the best month to give them more trainings. We can also see participants who stand out in this pie chart here and people who have failed, and you can kind of narrow it down to those learners to figure out what's going on. Courses, and then here you have the entire learner view of each one of the people that you supervise. So Abby's doing all right, but maybe Susan, okay, she only has 0% completed, not doing very well. Maybe she's on vacation or maybe not, and you need to have a talk with her to, get her to start her trainings. But if I click on, let's say like Abby, we can actually see, okay, how much stuff has she actually completed, the activities, her score, like any like, courses that she has coming up, different tracking here, like motivation, completed train courses, that kind of thing. And then we can even see all the registered courses that she's a part of and search that if we're looking for a particular one that she needs to finish maybe sooner than later. And at the course level, we can actually track in that course where your entire team is at in terms of progress. You can also sign her up to a course, like an invisible course if you want, and that's how you do it through here. And from here, if we go back to, let's say, applications, this is where I can basically approve learners into a course that they requested themselves to be added to. So this is that catalog we was talking about earlier where they can click enroll, but you have to approve it. This is where a supervisor would manage that. And yeah, I think that's a great overview of the entire system in 20 minutes. So now I want to open up to some of the questions that you guys have submitted.